Here is my rant about lack of funding for special education. The Education Act defines an exceptional pupil as a pupil whose behavioral, communicational, intellectual, physical, or multiple exceptionalities are such that he or she is considered to need placement in a special education program. Students are identified according to the categories and definitions of exceptionalities provided by the Ministry of Education and Training. Special education services are defined in the Education Act as the facilities and resources, including support personnel and equipment necessary for developing and implementing a special education program. The scope of practice for the trade of educational assistants, which are support personnel, includes the following: assisting educators in working with students, including those with special needs, special education needs, or both, and implementing education, safety, and behavioral support plans as required. Applying intervention strategies to support successful student outcomes. Promoting a positive environment for learning and assisting with life and living skills development. Supporting students and the use of specialized equipment as required. And assisting with students' safety and support through supervision. My question is, why is it that support personnel such as educational assistants are only allocated to classrooms that house the students with the highest of needs? An article published by CBC News titled, "A lot of kids' needs are not being met. Lots of labels, lack of resources for students with special needs," states that funding is based purely on numbers of students and not on need. It is hard to grasp how the funding allocation decisions are equitable in any way. All children with disabilities have the right by law to inclusion. In order to treat all students fairly and equitably, you need not to treat all students the same. Treating students the same will always be suboptimal for each individual and collectively as a group, for the simple reason that we are all different. Equity needs to be seen as providing equal opportunity, by whatever means, not as treating all students the exact same. Special education teachers as well as support personnel are overworked and stretched thin, attempting to create equal opportunities for all students. There seems to be a serious lack of resources for students with special needs, which puts the entire system under serious stress. There is a dire need for more funding in order to provide school boards with more professionals to assist in providing equitable educational environments. Lack of funding and resources comes with negative and significant consequences for our students. An article published by the Globe and Mail suggests that over half of the principals working in Ontario have asked parents of children with special needs to keep children at home. Personally, I think that this is punishable by law. As stated before, every student has a right to inclusivity by law. Sending students home due to a lack of resources is unfair, as a child is missing out on learning and also discriminatory due to the fact that all children have the right to education. There has been extraordinary progress in Ontario in our desire for full inclusion for all students, but there's obviously still a really far way to go. It all comes down to funding, and the education system is forced with the question of how much they are willing to spend in order to ensure that all students are included. Hopefully, the answer is that we will spend what it takes, because it's important that we stick to our word and make education inclusive and equitable for all.